Hey, Queen Mother, don't get into that intellectual fairy tale land.
Where'd all the donkeys come from?
Peace, family. I'm back. Took a little hiatus, had to take care of some things. But I want to talk about something today. I want to talk about the community that Umar and Nature Boy and Eugene and the Yorkies and all the other people say they're representing, and why other black people shouldn't speak out against what they do, whether it be good or bad, if they can find it good. But there was a study done recently by someone named Julia Stoll for Statista.com, and it was on television consumption. And in 2009 through 2019, prior to the pandemic, what the study showed was that black people under the age of 18 watched almost double the amount of television that Asian children watched, and an hour more television than Hispanic children watched, and a half hour just about more television than white children watched. Then they flipped it and bounced it to the 2020 study during the pandemic, where that kind of, rose up and everybody kind of watched TV every day, all day. But I want to get into the fact that prior to the pandemic, we watched way more television than anyone else in the country. I may be guilty of this myself, but I wonder, what is it about the black experience that you need to escape almost every day from reality? And what are the ramifications of this escapism? Are the ramifications that we're unable to see when things are right or wrong, when we're being entertained? Is our addiction to entertainment responsible for R. Kelly's meteoric rise to success, despite being identified as a grown man married to a child at the beginning of his career? Is it responsible for the fact that America's most prolific child toucher has a following so large in the African American community, in the African diaspora, that not only was one of the subsidiary organizations almost able to take control of the country of Liberia, but they're slated to do it in Nigeria and probably Ghana as well. At some point, they may be successful there, right? And all this is behind the rantings, ramblings, and plagiarisms of America's most prolific child predator. This is problematic. We're unable, because Umar is entertaining, we're unable to see the inconsistencies in what he says, the fact that he probably doesn't even believe half the stuff he says. We're unable to see that when he talks about his credentials, when he talks about his projects, none of the math ever adds up, and no one seems to notice these things. Is it because they're too busy being entertained? People follow psychotic people. Right? This has been a trend for at least 100 years, or almost 100 years, right? Still venerating people who follow psychopaths, right? For example, W.F. Ford, or Wallace Ford, or whatever his name really was a psychotic person who had a hatred for white people, despite being married to several white women, one of which abused him, having a white child while he was across the country spewing white hate, right? Lived a life likely as a white man up until the point he got arrested. But then he comes to Detroit and he's able to get black people to listen to his stories. Right? It's all about entertainment. Right? He was entertaining people with stories, and then all of a sudden they're killing people. All right? And this killing has gone on for almost as long as the organization. Malcolm, Khalid, the attempted murder of Aubrey Barnett. You know, just to name a few. We continue to listen to rhetoric where these talking heads spew violence, hatred, harassment on other people. Case in point with this nonsensical festival that none of you should even be caring about, because a festival is not a school. It's not getting you any closer to the school. And all this nonsense about the festival is actually taking you further away from the goal of having a functional school. But will you ever have a functional school when the person at the helm isn't functional? But they're entertaining, so you're not paying attention to that. You're just paying for the entertainment. And what's the difference between you paying for entertainment where a black man talks down about black professionals, black athletes, black entertainers, black politicians, black people in general, speaks about how they're lazy, unable to perform tasks while they exhibit this exact behavior? What's the difference between that and the Asian guy, Liu Kei, who goes to Africa and pays African children to say horrible things about black people in Chinese and then sell the tapes across the country as if he's doing some type of humanitarian work? What's the difference? I don't think there is one. I think that the issue is that we need to turn the television off and then stop looking for entertainment outside of the television. I think you should spend your time, find a show that you like, watch that show. Find a movie, watch that movie, right? Then move the fuck on. Don't look for life lessons in the movie or the TV show. Don't look for philosophical answers to your life in this television show. Just take it as it has nothing to do with you. This was time that you spent turning your brain off. But because the human brain is such a beautiful and amazing, intricate thing, you really can't turn it off. So while you're watching these things, your brain is going to automatically make the connections that it should be making in the outside world. Or in something productive pursuit, right? Pay attention to what's happening in the community. If you want to be entertained by what's happening for real. Don't put your entertainment goggles on. Put your news goggles on. The problem is, and this is why all these idiots were making movie breakdowns, right? You put your news goggles on when you're watching entertainment, and then you think the things that you see on the news are just distractions. Yes, you are being distracted, right? You're being so distracted that you don't participate in civics in the country that you live in, right? You've convinced yourself that despite being born in the definition of nationality is where you're born, and the fact that you have no citizenship anywhere else but here, you want to play word games and play fast and loose with definitions so that you can pretend that you're sitting here having the benefits of a citizen, but you're really not a citizen because of racism. Well, yes, racism is a problem, but what are you doing to end racism? Is paying some fat crackhead helping to end racism? Is pretending that America's worst child predator is an alien helping to end racism? Is pretending that some weirdo cult leader who is preying on the LGBT community, or the other cult leader preying on the LGBT community, or the other cult leader preying on the LGBT community, or all the ones preying on teenagers? We're going to pretend that that's not what's going on because of entertainment. because it's fun to watch. The crazy person ranting about pyramids and shit.